become better. But if you are a pro-law enforcement officer, pro-police, then why are you attacking the police in the first place? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of mute from them the standpoint, but they don't see the hypocrisy that they're the one who attacked the police, not the police attacked them. At the end of the day, we were the one doing our job. We were protecting the Capitol. They were the attackers, and they're wrong.
And I mean, and obviously Officer Sicknick, was laid in state. He died as a result, but his brother has said he felt his brother died for nothing, which is a heartbreaking thing to have read. But there are Capitol Police officers who are still standing in those halls, defending and guarding the people who would not approve a vote for a Congressional Medal of Honor for you all, and who are either silent or making excuses for these pardons. And I don't know if you all talk to folks that are still standing in those seats, in those spaces, and I don't know how they could possibly feel. But your thoughts on the pardons? Not just protecting those members of Congress. On Monday, Donald Trump was inaugurated, and the Capitol Police were responsible for keeping him safe. Think about that. The individual who sent a mob to attack those officers are the same officers who kept him safe on Monday. It's just kind of ironic, and it's hard to wrap your head around it. However, the men and women of the Capitol Police are some of the most professional people. They take their jobs very seriously, and they're proud to do it. When I was there, I was very proud to do it. Yeah. I had to resolve the fact that it's not about an individual. Yeah. It's protecting an institution. That seat, that Congress member, man or woman that I despise, that seat is still going to exist, hopefully 100 years after they no longer exist, if we continue to do our jobs and believe in protecting these institutions, which is clear a lot of them don't respect these institutions anymore. Yeah, well, I call y'all the Avengers, including Eugene Goodman, who I just insist is Black Panther, and no one's going to talk me down from that. That's what I'm telling my kids. What's up, Eugene? What makes it even worse is like they had welcomed the same people who made their life, made them run for their lives. Yeah. And they are giving them the praise and the honorable mentions and things like that, something that they had not done for the officers that protest them. They still protest them. Some of them even giving them tours. Or offering to, I was just going to ask them to go to the White House. Yeah. But the officers never being apologized to for what they did, for what those who claim to back the blue, like congresspersons, and also the president himself. Yeah. When was the last time he acknowledged the efforts the Capitol Police officers did on that day? I don't think he ever has. Never has. Exactly. I don't think he ever has. And he never apologized, and he never will. And he never will. I mean, Lauren Boebert did offer that tours are coming. And she said that she would like to give them personal tours. And I wonder, just for all of you, and I'll start with you, Michael, how you felt seeing Stuart Rhodes, Elmer. His name is Elmer. He wants to go by Stuart because I think it makes it sound cooler. But his name is Elmer. He was there literally in the Capitol yesterday, meeting with lawmakers and having a Dunkin' Donuts coffee inside the same buildings where he helped to orchestrate that mob.
I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't care less about Stuart Rhodes or what he does or where he goes. I mean, to me, that guy's just a clown. And I mean, at the end of the day, he should enjoy his time, in the limelight, because eventually, these same members of Congress are going to dump him like yesterday's trash.
Things that you wouldn't, say, run on as your platform if you were actively running for office. This week, U.S. veterans, including the founder of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, Paul Rieckhoff, started reporting publicly on what appears to be Trump's new hiring freeze at the VA, at the Veterans Administration. Quote, job offers to new employees that have a start date after February 8th are now being rescinded. This includes some folks who've already moved to new cities with their families, doctors, nurses, counselors. This is throwing a massive hand grenade, Rieckhoff says, into the largest healthcare system in America, one which serves millions of American veterans. It's already hurting morale and retention. It will impact recruiting at VA forever. It is reckless and stupid. And he says, quote, it's intentional. This is how you drive people out of VA and make sure they don't want to work there, which for many Trump people has always been the plan. If you want to shrink the workforce and privatize the VA, this is how you accelerate it. hiring freeze at the VA affecting doctors, nurses, counselors, everybody. Veterans have been sounding the alarm on that this week. And then look, hey, turns out sounding the alarm and pushing back sometimes stops them from doing some of the worst things they want to do. Today, after the outcry from veterans and members of Congress, including Republicans, VA backtracked on this. They decided, after it was a full freeze from the beginning, they decided instead now they'll exempt about 300,000 healthcare-specific jobs from this freeze. And that apparently is something they had not intended to do until they got a furious and very public pushback against what they had otherwise tried to get away with. A salutary moment. Stick a pin in that, right? Whatever the country thought they were voting for when they voted for Donald Trump for president, I think it's safe to say that screwing over veterans and messing with their health care, messing with veterans' health care was probably not part of the sales pitch, right? But Trump did try instituting an across-the-board hiring freeze at the VA. So people who want to work for veterans in that system were being told no, were being shown the door. Only outrage and public pushback backed them off that.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. As of today, it looks as though Donald Trump is in the process of freezing federally funded cancer research in the United States. You got that? Cancer research. Why? Well, to be totally honest, we're not sure. But on his orders, the National Institutes of Health has frozen everything. Cancer research, Alzheimer's, diabetes. There's a lot not to like about the American healthcare system, but health research is one of the things that we do really, really well here in this country. We spend a lot of money on it for good reason. The NIH has a $48 billion budget, which funds 50,000 grants to 300,000 researchers across 2,500 research institutions nationwide, all over the place, studying all kinds of things. Institutions filled with some of the brightest minds from all over the world come here. I know some of them. Some of them are family members. Came to the U.S. so that they could conduct gold standard research in medical innovation to try to cure diseases that bedevil us. It's been woven into the fabric of this country for decades.
Among the buildings of the National Institute of Health to be dedicated here today stands the National Cancer Institute, created through provisions of the act which I signed on August 5th, 1937. The work of this new institute is well underway. It is promoting and stimulating cancer research throughout the nation. It is bringing to the people of the nation a message of hope, because many forms of the disease are not only curable, but even preventable. Beyond this, it is doing research here and in many universities to unravel the mysteries of cancer.
The NIH is not particularly controversial. I think it's a crown jewel of American governance. It's doing really important, life-altering work. And again, it's not centralized, right? It's out throughout the country. Folks just spending every day in a lab trying to do things like find a cure for cancer or Alzheimer's or a treatment for a rare illness. And yesterday, I don't think this has gotten nearly the attention it deserves. That research basically just stopped. I don't mean this like symbolically either. The actual convening of meetings and grant boards to approve funding were just abruptly halted. In at least one case, mid-meeting, apparently because of orders from the new Trump administration. And again, I'd like to tell you why they're doing this, but honestly, no one really seems to know what's going on. NPR confirmed with one cancer researcher that a scheduled meeting next week was indeed canceled. And as the academic journal Science reports, yesterday alone, officials halted midstream a training workshop for junior scientists, called off a workshop on adolescent learning, because gosh, we don't want that, right? Minutes before it was to begin, and canceled meetings of two advisory councils. Panels that were scheduled to review grant proposals also received 11th hour word they wouldn't be meeting. Staff also got word of an order directing the immediate and indefinite suspension of all travel for NIH employees. And as NBC News reports, nearly all scientific communication coming from federal health agencies, including the NIH, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, have been stopped until...
You know, folks, it's moments like this that make it clear if Trump is willing to screw the people that he pretends to care about, what's he gonna do to the people that he's open about hating, right? Like, you and I understand that Trump governs not for the people, but for the billionaire class and the multi-millionaire class. If you don't have at least, $10 million of net worth, then Trump's not really governing for you, right? The closer you get to that 10, maybe you'll see some side benefits, but he's governing for people that live an unimaginably wealthy lifestyle. But that, even in the Republican Party cult that it is, that alone won't win you an election. So he has to pretend to care about groups that people generally support. Police officers. For all the criticism of policing, most people respect individual officers. And the military, again, for all the criticisms of the military, people certainly respect veterans and those who serve their country, right? And so Trump makes a very aggressive point that I stand with these people. And so if he's willing to screw them over, what's he going to do to teachers, to nurses, to other public workers that he's attacking right now? What's he going to do to the working class who builds everything? What's he going to do to farm workers that pick the food, the people that build the houses? And the answer is he's going to crush them, or at least attempt to. And so Donald getting heckled and booed by officers and by the military, by veterans, that's important because it showcases that Trump's plans aren't just going to fly by willy-nilly, and that the contradictions of the billionaire populist are being exposed, because he's not a populist, he's a plutocrat.